Good afternoon, everyone. The Sacramento City Council will please come to order. Would the clerk call the roll to establish a quorum?
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes. Here. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Here.
Vice Mayor Maple.
Here.
Councilmember Guerra.
Here.
Councilmember Jennings.
Here.
Councilmember Vang. Here. And Mayor Steinberg.
I am here. Vice Mayor Maple, would you please lead us in the land acknowledgement and the Pledge of Allegiance?
All right, certainly. Please stand if you are able. Please rise for the opening acknowledgments in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu, Valley and Plains Miwok, Putchwan Wintun peoples, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous people's history, contributions, and lives. Thank you. So please remain standing, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and a very good afternoon and evening to my colleagues, the city team, and most importantly, the members of the public who are here and who are watching this either online or on television. We do not have a long meeting tonight, I don't believe, although I think there are a number of people here who want to testify on matters not on the agenda. We begin with a presentation recognizing Girl Scout Troop 1089, presented by Vice Mayor Maple.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is really special for me. I had the opportunity to meet with this troop, and I want to share a little bit about what they are doing, what they've done, and then I'll invite them up to speak. First, this is not just 1089, just to clarify, it's also including individuals from troops 1105, 917, and 793. And they designed and built their own amateur long-distance radio and then used it to contact an American astronaut on the International Space Station. Pretty incredible. Oh yeah, they were selected by NASA as one of only 11 groups across the nation this year to participate in this program. As a part of the amateur radio on the International Space Station program, each scout received a unique merit badge for their work and participated in a six-session educational program focused on space, the International Space Station, and radio communication. Projects like these are so important for encouraging women and girls to pursue their careers in science and technology, aka STEM. And it's also important that they start moving down that path when they're young, right? So doing this work now is gonna help you build your future career and your path in life. And so I'm really thrilled to welcome you up to the podium. If I could have Fred and Elsa and others behind them come up and speak. You just can come up to the microphone right here. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Fred. The contact itself is just such a success, which makes me so happy, but it just makes me really grateful to think about like all the people in our community who came out to support us. So for example, like Katie Maple came for one of our sessions where we were just getting ready, and that was super exciting. And then the Amateur Radio Communication Society helped us out so much, not only building the radio, but Jen was like foundational in our project success, which makes me so happy to think about all the people that contributed to our project and helped us out.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that I speak for all of us when I say that this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we're so thankful for all the support from the River City Amateur Radio Club and ARIS, and it's definitely gotten all of us more invested in STEM subjects, and we're all really honored to have this opportunity. And yeah, I'm really thankful for all the support that the Girl Scouts and the ARIS has given us in this project.
Wonderful. Okay, I'll have you remain standing while seems like some of my colleagues might want to make some comments, and then we'll take a photo in the front.
Councilmember Kaplan, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations. This is hugely momentous. As a mom of 2 Girl Scouts, I know the projects that you take on, but the opportunities that Girl Scouts give you. So what makes today even more special is today is National Girl Scout Day. Well, this is also part of Girl Scout Week, which started on March 10th and ends on Sabbath on March 16th. And what makes today National Girl Scout Day is on March 12th, 1912, is when Juliet Gordon Low created the first Girl Scout club in Savannah. So to be able to honor you here tonight, and just think about the legacy of what Juliet started 112 years ago, she never would have imagined that this was the possibility, but this is what Girl Scouts does when it builds courage, confidence, and character for that next generation. So you guys truly are the leaders, so congratulations.
Wow. Are we taking pictures? Is that it?
So y'all can squeeze past this barrier here, and then
I'm St. Patrick's Day.
and parents too. Our cheerleaders, come on up and join us.
Hey, Fred, good job.
Yeah, parents and cheerleaders, please come join us. Come right on through here. All right, please come on through.
I'm actually a grandfather.
We're close enough, it counts. Family. All right. So I'm going to snag our first photo here. If I can get y'all to squeeze a little bit more, you can make a couple of rows on this side. A little more. Oh. Let's see. If I could get maybe one person on the end, maybe you make a row, get behind someone. Just squeeze in a little further. Perfect. And then you can look right here at my camera. Everybody fairly settled. All right. 1, 2, 3. Hold tight. Okay, y'all looking good, Mateo? Yep. 1, 2, 3. Got it. And over here. And I will send y'all the photographs. I'm just a director.
Pleasure.
You look good, bald, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, God.
Thank you so much.
So I can meet y'all out in the lobby in just a moment, and I can send the photos around and whatnot. I have to run back upstairs. All right, ready to party.
Keep it up. I'm gonna make you do it every week.
Impeccable work.
What a great start to our meeting tonight. We now have the consent calendar. And are there items that members want to have be heard separately or vote on separately? I would like to have a quick hearing off consent on item 8, the renewal of the Sacramento Tourism Marketing District, please. Have that be voted on separate from the consent calendar?
Mr. Mayor, item 8 is just a consideration. It's not a voting item. And then item 10, staff has asked that we continue that item to March 20.
10, so you're saying 8 is not a vote?
Correct. There's no vote needed, but if you wanted to take it off to discuss, I do have speakers on that item.
Well, okay.
And staff is here to present if you'd like.
Okay, so let's go through the rest. Let's hear from the members here. Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes, were you up on this one?
Yeah, I wanted to ask questions for item 6.
6, okay. Very good. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I would like to have item 5 discussed and voted on separately.
Okay. Separate. Councilmember Valenzuela?
I was also going to ask questions on item 5.
Very good. Councilmember Guerra?
Item 5.
All right.
Item 5 has it. Okay.
Just a comment, not to be pulled for.
I understand. Okay. So then, do we have public testimony on consent items other than? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. Sorry.
Wanted to just speak on item 10, me and Councilmember Guerra, and 10, yeah.
Okay, even though there's a proposal to continue it, but you'll speak to that.
Yes, we need to speak on it, yeah.
Okay.
And then did I hear correctly that 5, 6, and 7 is getting pulled? Just wanted to double check that.
5 and 6 are going to be both voted on, heard separately. No, just 5 voted on separately, 6 to be discussed by Councilmember Talamantes. Okay.
Okay.
Can we differentiate on the public testimony with consent? What is about item 5?
I can.
Okay, so if we take every consent public testimony for other than item 5, I think that would be appropriate to hear from the public now. Well, 6 is not going to be voted on separately. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. I got it.
That's what I meant. You're on it.
I got it.
It's almost like you've done this before.
Okay.
Okay, so do we want to take those items that we're pulling and have those discussions first, and then we can take the speakers on all the other consent items?
No, because we're going to have 5 actually and 8 actually considered separately.
Okay.
So
5.
so when all the public testimony on items other than 5 and 8, please.
Perfect.
Okay.
I will do my best. We'll get started
the best
with
we can.
item number 1. Amira Khattab, Dan Larkins. Dan is speaking on 1 and additional items on the consent calendar. Alex Beamer is on 1 and additional items on the consent calendar. Then Sarah Alazan.
Hi, I would like to comment on agenda item number 1 related to previous meeting minutes. As you may know, what happened during these meetings is now subject to a review by both an independent evaluator from the Ethics Commission and a criminal investigator from the DA's office. And so for the sake of public records accuracy, I believe a few edits are needed. First, with regards to the minute of the meeting held on February 6th at 5 p.m., under matters not included in the agenda, the minute starts by mentioning the 2 recesses taken by the council. Then it states that members of the public provided public comments. I believe 3 edits are needed. The first is the word selected needs to be added before members of the public provided public comments. And then the second edit is this statement about the selected members only providing comments needed. It needs to be mentioned, I believe, before the mention of the 2 recesses, so as to provide some context to why these recesses were taken. And then after the sentence that states council took a recess at 6:30 and 6:59, I believe we also need to add due to the public disapproval of restrictions imposed around ceasefire comments. And then with regards to the meeting on February 27th, 5 p.m., Also, under public comments, matters not included in the agenda, it says none, and it stops. And for a more accurate documentation, I believe this section should state meeting room ordered, cleared, no public comments provided. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Dan Larkins on item 1 through 6.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'd like to have it be on record that over the past few meetings, the council's actions have led me to feel a little bit discouraged about our local government and so-called democracy. I entered the past few meetings here respectfully, understanding the value of this public property that we have here and our power to impact our elected officials. Last city council meeting, I saw a clearly disabled man invite up his grandson, excited to talk about an environmental issue that was important to him. He did not get his paper in, right over there, in time, and he was told to sit down and go away. And he looked upset and confused, and no patience was really shown to him. A few people yelled out, "Let him speak, let him speak." But in the name of law and order, armed people were told to intimidate the crowd. And can you imagine a teacher doing that in a classroom? Would that be appropriate or legal? Or might it be traumatic and threatening? Some might call it white fragility. I call it cowardice. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, Martin Luther King Day, Valentine's Day, President's Day, the Super Bowl, the Oscars. A lot of stuff has happened in the past 5 months, right? All these nice things. That's how long it's taken us. Why are we slower than San Francisco and Chicago? Are we divided, or are we just scared, or more corrupt? 2 city council meetings ago, we had 60-plus prepared speakers ready to talk about a ceasefire, and only 15 were allowed to speak. I thought that was unfair. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker is Alex Beamer. Alex is on 1 through 10, and then Sarah Alzanon.
I'd also like to speak regarding the minutes, which I do not feel accurately represent what happened at the last couple of city council meetings. It should be mentioned as to why these recesses were taken, that this space, which is supposed to be our public platform, is that we are not allowed to speak our mind, and that you're supposed to hear from all of us, but at the last second, things could be changed without any of us knowing beforehand. I don't think you could get a real clear picture of the community when there are 70 people who show up for one side and 10 for the other, and you only let 10 from each side speak. You say you want to have a full picture, you say you want to bring the community together, and yet there's obviously a disparity which you want to ignore, and you want to conflate the two sides, even though there's an obvious discrepancy. So it's like, do you really want to hear from the community, or do you just want to paint your own picture and paint yourself as some sort of arbiter of peace, when in reality you're the ones being divisive? We come here every week and we take time out of our day to be here. You get paid to be here and you can't even sit here and take it. You sit, you stare at your phones, you have lunch, you have dinner. And meanwhile, we're just trying to get you to acknowledge our humanity, and you won't even do that. It's literally your job to be here. And we're missing out on important time that we'd rather spend elsewhere to be here. And that's just unfair.
Thank you for your comments. Sarah Alzanon.
Hi, my name is Sarah Alzanoon. I just wanted to give a comment, a little touch on the minutes here. There has been, I feel like, an undemocratic representation of the public comments. When I was here, it was only chosen 15 people to speak when more than 50 members of the public supported a ceasefire. They were denied the opportunity to express their views. And it's just an unequal restriction that was imposed by Steinberg and the City Council, and this is aimed to create an illusion of balance despite the overwhelming public support for a ceasefire. I just believe that this is undemocratic, and it's just not reflective of the community when you're silencing 70% of the people that came to speak on a ceasefire. It's very dehumanizing for me as a Palestinian to come up here and have to recount and relive the horrors that my family is going through in live time. In the past 5 months, over 50 members of my family have been killed. And it's very, like I said, dehumanizing for me to have to relive this and talk to you guys about it every month with no avail, with no respect on that. So with that, I just wanted to kind of express my disappointment and my frustration. While we're here, I'm going to take everyone's time to give a moment of silence for my family that has been killed, including my 1-year-old cousin, Yasin Alzanoon. His death certificate was printed 11 months after his birth.
Your next speaker is Kevin Bolts. After Kevin is Jean Demon, and then Jason.
Glory be to the martyrs. The minutes of February 27th in particular do not accurately represent what happened in that meeting. The tenor and tone of the council, yourself in particular, the situation with a lack of accessibility and empathy regarding a man who, no offense to him, was old as shit, with 2 walking sticks, who was probably cognitively confused or physically incapable of bringing his slipper on time because there is no sign in the back, or if it is, it's not big enough because he probably couldn't read it. And instead of allowing an old man 2 minutes, you instead kicked him out and then shut the meeting down. And that's what I really want to talk about. Palestinian protesters did not shut down the meeting on February 27th. You did. When you cleared the room and then put the police on us, you shut the meeting down. Robin Epley of the SAC-B was the only person to accurately report that. If there's any other news in here, y'all been fucking up too. Because we didn't shut a meeting down, we stood up for an elderly man and told you to let him speak, something that was apparently too much of an ask from a city council that bears no empathy for people under genocide, so it shouldn't be that surprising. I think many people up there are under the impression this is the end of a process, and I will tell you, as long as I have one good leg and some crutches and blood in my heart, this is the beginning. We are only going to go other places from here, more economic, more money-based. You're gonna hate the words boycott, divest, and sanction far more than you hate the word ceasefire. So I strongly suggest that you figure out how to listen to people in here, or as you know, we will show up to where you have to listen to us because it's where you live.
Our next speaker is George Demian on item 1, then Jason on item 7.
So I
I don't know if you're messing up my name because you can't read. My name is Jean Demian. I also find it incredibly disrespectful that you messed up Sarah Alzanoon's name, especially given the fact that she has had to come up here week after week and recount to you how you all have actively contributed to the murder of her own family. So put some respect on her name and do read. It's a piece of paper. Read. I think that's a very bare minimum expectation for you all. Anyway, I'm also here to speak about the gross misrepresentation of how these city council meetings have been operating according to your meeting minutes. They paint a very inaccurate picture of what you are doing here. What you are doing here is actively silencing and repressing the community members that come forth to speak to you about issues that very much directly impact us, direct members of your community. You want to paint it as something that is over there, it's not a local issue. Y'all also just passed some bullshit about Ukraine, so there's that. So I'm also gonna just read a brief snippet of some more accurate presentations of what went down. So City Council recap on January 23rd. A large crowd of Sacramento residents gathered to demand that Sacramento City Council join other cities in denouncing the genocide in Palestine and calling for a ceasefire. More than 60 individuals, including Palestinians, Jews, and other locals, passionately expressed their support for Palestine. Mayor Steinberg threatened to prematurely end the meeting multiple times, showing disinterest and ignoring many of the speakers. Conversely, Councilmember Katie Valenzuela attentively listened to the testimonies and even shed tears at some points. Meanwhile, Zionist Councilmember Lisa Kaplan left the meeting abruptly after being criticized for her stance on supporting genocide. The following day, Councilmember Katie Valenzuela and Councilmember Mai Vang introduced a city resolution calling for a permanent ceasefire, collaborative effort with affected communities following extensive discussion.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Jason, then Harindi. Jason is speaking on item 7, then Harindi on 3.
So I'd also like to reiterate what others have said about the minutes in the previous meeting. I think more context should be provided as to why recesses were called. Last meeting, I witnessed an elderly man try to express his thoughts on a matter. He obviously wanted to be heard, but didn't have the full capacity to understand what he had to do in the process to speak. When he was denied the opportunity, members of the community spoke up on his behalf. In response, the mayor called for a recess and then called for security guards and cops to intimidate everyone here and to clear the chambers. So I think that that should be included in the minutes. I'd also like to express my disappointment and frustration at this so-called democratic process. This city hall is supposed to belong to the city, members of the city. Like others have said, you are paid to work here and listen to us. And that isn't being done. So we are going to keep showing up for as long as it takes for you to put a ceasefire resolution on the agenda to be voted on. And we're going to be asking for more as well. So be ready. We're not going away. And yeah, free Palestine. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Harindi on item 3.
Good evening. My name is Harini, and I am a community member and also resident physician. I am here to advocate on behalf of our many community members who have also spoken tonight about how their voices have not been heard on the issue of the genocide in Gaza. It saddens me that our folks in the community with disabilities and our folks in the community who have had family members be killed in Gaza. And my patients have told me about how this has impacted them and their families and their mental health negatively for so many months. I am here with everyone else to say that this can't continue. And yeah, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes the speakers for items that were not the three that were pulled for separate discussion. Did you want to take speakers?
Yeah, I think what I want to do here is to get this done in pieces. I'll take a motion on the consent calendar with the exceptions of items on 5, 6, and 8. I know, Councilmember Talamantes, you were okay with 6, but I'm going to do it separately, if that's okay, because there's a lot of... So moved, okay? Second. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Now I'm going to take it in particular order, if it's okay, because I've got my own reason. Item 8 first, okay? Item 8. Let's hear a presentation. I know there are 5 people signed up to speak on item 8, and it's not a vote, but this is separate from the consent calendar requested by Visit Sacramento. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Suzanne Tan with the Finance Department. The item before you tonight is a public meeting to take in public testimony only with no action required per the California Government Code. The Sacramento Tourism Marketing District is requesting a renewal of their district with an increase in an assessment. A public hearing is scheduled for March 26th in which action will be taken for the renewal and increase in assessment. Mike Testa with Visit Sacramento is here tonight and would like to speak on this item as well.
Good evening, Mayor Steinberg, members of the City Council, Mr. City Manager. My name is Mike Test. I'm the President and CEO of Visit Sacramento. This item is specific to the current incarnation of the Sacramento Tourism Marketing District, also known as the STMD, which is the primary funding source for Visit Sacramento and is up for renewal in 2024. Visit Sacramento uses the funding from the STMD to attract national conventions like the Unified Wine and Grape Symposium and the Almond Board of California, sporting events like Ironman, March Madness, and the Junior Olympics, and music festivals like Aftershock and Golden Sky. And we've been pleased at the impacts that our work has had on our funding sources and our stakeholders, as evidenced by the fact that in 2023, Visit Sacramento had its most productive year in its almost 100-year history, filling more than 332,000 rooms in lodging properties across the district's boundaries. That translates into Visit Sacramento filling more than 900 rooms in hotels and short-term rentals across this market on a daily basis every day of the year. Looking ahead, we plan to continue using the STMD funding to attract new music festivals to our market, new food conferences, a diverse variety of sporting events, and major conventions that drive economic impacts across all 4 zones for many years to come. Thank you.
Mayor, I have 4 more speakers on this item. Michael Sade, Jerome Gervais, Tim Woolslayer, and Doug Warren. So Michael, Jerome, Tim, then Doug.
Hi, good afternoon, Council and Mr. Mayor. My name is Tim Woolslayer. I'm the General Manager at the Hilton Sacramento in the Arden area. I just want to come here to state my complete support of the STMD program and the tremendous impact it has for us in a hotel. My hotel alone has approximately 150 full and part-time employees. 90% of those are City of Sacramento residents, including myself. This program that brings us jobs, it brings us joy, it brings us culture to the city. Things like Aftershock started with seed money from Visit Sacramento and is growing into something large. We have great plans for the STMD program going forward, and I think its value cannot be overstated. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. My name is Jerome Harris, and I serve as the General Manager for the Sheraton Grand here on J Street. I'm speaking today in support of the renewal of the Sacramento Tourism Marketing District. The tourism industry is critical to our regional economy and is a key driver of our city's hospitality workforce. As Visit Sacramento's primary funding source, the STMD drives Sacramento's tourism successes and enables our industry to support tens of thousands of jobs and generate hundreds of millions of dollars of economic impact for our residents, our businesses, and for our local governments. Renewing the STMD will ensure that Visit Sacramento and our hospitality community can continue to tell the story of our destination across the country, drive economic impact for our residents and our small businesses, and attract new visitor investments into our city. Our Sheraton Grand Hotel employs 235 full-time equivalents, and tourism helps to support all these local jobs. Our hotel, like all of the hotels in Zone 1 to 4, have tremendously benefited from the support by the STMD influx, such as music festivals, conventions, and sports and visitors. Examples we all know: Aftershow, Golden Sky, Soul Bloom, and of course the Almond Board, Wine and Grape, and so on and so forth. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Michael, then Doug? Either order is fine.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Michael Sadi. I operate multiple short-term rentals in the area, as well as sit on the local host community for Airbnb and short-term rental hosts. I just want to support the work that Visit Sacramento does. We see a direct impact, a great impact from all of the events that they bring to town, as well as what happens at the convention center. So it allows us to employ people and support the local economy. I keep cleaners busy, as well as handyman, electricians, and everything we need to maintain our properties. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Doug is our final speaker on this item.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Doug Warren, and I'm the Vice President of Operations for a company that owns and manages 3 Marriott hotels in the area. They're smaller boxes than some of the people that were just speaking. I'm speaking today in support of the renewal of STMD, commonly known, I'm speaking today in support of the renewal of the Sacramento Tourism and Marketing District, commonly known as the STMD. The tourism industry is critical to our regional economy and is a key driver of our city's hospitality workforce. The 3 hotels I referenced earlier employ 138 full-time and 15 part-time with families and careers. As Visit Sacramento's primary funding source, STMD drives Sacramento's tourism success and enables our industry to support tens of thousands of jobs, along with all the ancillary businesses we use to run our hotels. The visitation generates hundreds of millions of dollars in economic impacts to our local residents, our businesses, and the programs you desire to fund. I can personally speak to the impact in September and October that comes from Aftershock, Golden Sky, Ironman, and Farm to Fork. These events are like financial Super Bowls that occur every year in Sacramento. I ask that you support the renewal of the STMD. Thank you for your time.
Is that it on item 8?
That concludes the speakers
And it's
on
not a
item 8.
vote, so there won't be a motion, but I'm just going to say to what I just heard, ditto. I mean, you want to look at one of those evolutions that Councilmember Guetta talked about today in terms of Sacramento and what's changing for the better. It is tourism, it is music, it is art, it is sports, it is festivals, and it is happening. And it's happening because we've got a great community and a great leadership in Visit Sacramento. But all of you members and the city management have supported this all the way. And we got to keep supporting it because it just keeps delivering good and great things for our city. Regional Youth Sports Complex. waterfront. More to come even before this particular mayor cedes the gavel. Okay. There we go. Let's go now to the disability issue, the item 6. Okay?
Thank you, Mayor. I have 7 speakers on this item. The first is Regina Brink, then Stephanie Jones, then Brandy Tuzon Boyd.
Thank you, City Council and Mayor Steinberg. I am pleased to be here in person. It's been a while. I've been virtual, and I love seeing all of you. So I am going to talk about these, the ADA, the plan that was submitted by the Disability Advisory Council. First, an ADA coordinator is very, very necessary, one that is dedicated to actual compliance for ADA, as long as we agree that discrimination against people with disabilities is not intentional. However, the inclusion of people with disabilities has to be intentional for it to work. So what I need to also express is we would like public meetings to be ADA compliant. This would include ADA compliant agendas available in print and online, closed captioning for all meetings, which are live streamed. I just want to have you take note that people that are deafblind can't participate in these meetings a lot of times. Automated entrances to council chambers, integrated seating in council chambers, disability awareness and etiquette training. It can go a long way. And then virtual meetings for people that need an accommodation for mobility or transportation challenges. The other thing is to update diversity, inclusion, equity, and inclusion. We want to put the A in there for accessibility. Thank you. And then race and gender equity, the same thing. There's a intersectionality of that, and that has to be explored, acknowledged, and I just want to say that it has to include observable and non-observable disabilities. I have faith that this council can do that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Stephanie Jones.
You think so? The mic's right there. Okay, got it. All right, great. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Steinberg and members of City Council and the City Manager. My name is Stephanie Jones, and I am a member of the one of the local chapters of the California Council of the Blind. So I come to represent the chapter. And I also come as a participant, a public participant in the Sacramento City Disabilities Advisory Commission. And so I'm speaking in support of the annual report sent to the council by the commission. And essentially, I'm just here to support them as they have expressed the need for a city ADA coordinator. There's a lot more under that, but essentially, we need somebody in that position who can speak on behalf of members of the city, visitors, residents, et cetera. Next, we certainly need training for city council and staff on the intersectionality of disability with general diversity, equity, and inclusion. Next, certainly want to support Golden One, but we need to make more accessible, make it more accessible to people with disabilities. And there are lots of iterations of that that can be achieved through that annual report. And finally,
30 seconds remaining.
Finally, we need to allow for virtual public comment as an accommodation for people with disabilities at all public city meetings. This is critical, and I urge you to support the annual report. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Brandy Tuzon Boyd, then Danielle on 6 and 4, then Alice Mercier.
Good evening. Thank you for pulling this item so that we have an opportunity to address you directly. I know that I've spoken to several of you on the dais about the important work that the Disabilities Advisory Commission does for your city. Your dedicated volunteers present to you tonight the annual report for both 2022 and 2023, and in it there are 7 recommendations. The speakers before me eloquently expressed several of the issues that your commissioners have identified in the area of inclusionary practices for those with disabilities. It's really important that the city, as a champion of diversity, equity, inclusion, also keep in mind our brothers and sisters with observable and non-observable disabilities. And that has been severely lacking over the years. And so our recommendations really do focus on incorporating individuals with disabilities in the training that you on the dais plan to take, as well as making sure that our public meetings are fully accessible. That is from meeting agendas online, wayfinding information for those individuals seeking to participate in person, closed captioning, options for individuals to submit even speaker slips to you prior to the meetings, because your speaker slips here in chambers are not accessible. Your doors are not accessible to chambers, and there's more in our report. And finally, the issue of the ADA drop-off and wayfinding to the Golden One Arena. I know I've spoken to several of you about that as well. And I know that a solution is in the works, but I think something short-term is really important to implement now while we look for a long-term solution. Thank you.
For your comments, Danielle, speaking on items 6 and 4. So Danielle on item 6 and 4, then Alice Mercer on item 6.
Hi, so to talk about disability accessibility, I think a big thing we should start with is City Council's attitude towards people with disabilities. Daryl, I'm speaking, please. Daryl? We listen to you speak. Please listen to us speak.
You wasted 20 seconds. You need
That's-
to reset the clock.
So the attitude City Council has shown people with disabilities has been abhorrent. I watched a couple weeks ago as an elderly gentleman who was on crutches was very confused because it is not clear about the speaker slips, where to turn them in. I would have had no idea if I hadn't had someone who'd been here walk me through it before. And when people advocated for him, you decided we're just going to shut it down. And for people who can't attend and who are attending these virtually, you go to a blank screen. It looks like this with some cheesy ass music, and it doesn't tell people what is happening. That is not accessible. That is not letting the people in the community who cannot be here in person know what is actually happening, especially when certain members of City Council like to take to their Twitter account and full on lie. And you don't think that that's harming your community? Yes. And Lisa, you can look at me too, because I am speaking to you. I have never felt so much disrespect from people who demand my respect. And so I can only imagine what people who are not as able-bodied are feeling. Make this accessible for everybody. Listen to everybody. Make it for people who cannot be here, that they get a full and clear picture of what's going on. And if you feel the need to lie on Twitter, then maybe someone needs to have their Twitter account
You need to
revoked.
direct to everybody, not just one member,
I'm
please.
directing it to everybody.
Okay.
I have been disrespected by certain people. I'm directing it at those people.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Alice Mercer. Next speaker is Alice, then Terry Presson, then
I'm going to
Charles
have
Foster.
Terry go first.
Would Terry prefer the wireless microphone?
No.
Thank you.
Terry is going to be speaking from an assistive device.
Thank you.
So he'll be using this microphone, and hopefully I've done this right.
We appreciate your assistance.
My name is Terry Preston. Here is some background on me.
Prior to having a brainstem stroke 7 years ago, I worked at Walk Sacramento, a local nonprofit whose goal is to make our communities walkable for all. I worked in partnership with other organizations, like local equity advocates. I started off as a local parent advocate at my child's school. In my work, I taught community members that all change comes from an engaged population. I worked with the community so that they could advocate for the improvements needed to make communities more accessible to those walking assisted or otherwise. I now find that I cannot get fair and equitable access to the Golden One Center. A little more history: when the arena that is now Golden One Center was being planned, I was part of the community negotiating a community benefits agreement. I was focused on making sure that there was good access for pedestrians, bicyclists, those taking public transit, and those needing assistive devices to access the facility. I'm a Kings fan and looked forward to going to games there. After the arena was built, I had the pleasure of attending games there. When I finally returned home after my stroke, my friends started taking me to games where my wife would drop us off. At this time, the planned Adia drop-off point on L Street was not available, and we had to go up from 4th and J Street through a lot of construction that made the trip long and complicated. During the season that ended in 2021, we were finally able to use the L Street drop-off. This made access much smoother and getting through security, which was located inside and had elevators to access the concourse nearby. Suddenly, during the season that ended in 2022, we were redirected from L and 7th Street and told that only paratransit and very important person parking could enter. My friend wrote a complaint on my behalf that ended up at this commission, where it remains unresolved. At the present time, we have been told that the drop-off is back at 4th Street, where we are supposed to enter by wheelchair into the K Street Mall area and go up to the arena. This is much farther away from the actual arena and involves traveling outdoors in what is sometimes rough weather. It takes me to the general admission entrance, which is exposed to the elements and is not set up for wheelchairs as opposed to the paratransit drop-off, which is covered. There is a YouTube video that shows this that was included as part of the Commission's annual report. I urge you all to view this video to see how difficult access is. I've been told that the reason the L and 6 drop-off is not usable by the persons like myself who are handicapped but not using paratransit is that there are security concerns from the NBA. The Homeland Security Agency was also mentioned. Meanwhile, the Dia drop-off that had been put as part of the community benefits agreement that I worked on is being used by stretch limo vans and seems to have become a very important person drop-off and pickup zone. This is both inequitable and unfair. I'm asking the Commission to make a recommendation to the City Council to reach out to the Kings who are controlling access to the Dia drop-off.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
Use the Dia drop-off at L Street and not have this area reserved for just paratransit and VIP. It's what common sense and justice demand.
Okay.
My
Thank you
name
for
is
your
Terry
comments.
Preston.
Sorry.
Here is background. Prior to having a brainstem stroke.
Thank you, Terry. Alice Mercer
Yeah.
and Charles Faust.
I'm going to leave Terry up here just for now so that it doesn't take up a lot of time. Basically, there was an acceptable ADA drop-off point over on L Street. And for some reason, the Sacramento Kings have decided that that's no longer appropriate for anything but VIP parking. There are a lot of stretch limos over in there and paratransit. Sometimes, and it's been documented quite extensively by Brandy, there are so many limousines up there and stretch vans and the rest. The paratransit is forced into an area that is not as usable for getting wheelchairs up over into the van. And the Kings have refused to go over and engage with any discussion. They want to put it off for the next transportation management plan, but it's been years now. And that transportation management plan is going to take another year and a half to do. And it's not fair. It is not equitable. This is not just. In addition, I just want to highlight some other folks who talked about the access. Bringing Terry in here, those two doors are closed at this time. We cannot get through without somebody holding doors open. And while people are very helpful when they notice that happening, it becomes quite awkward. Like one of the staffers came in from this side, and they can't really hold it open in a way that they are not in the way of bringing through a wide wheelchair like this. I understand it's in the works, that it's going to happen over the summer because you need 2 weeks to go over and do the construction, but it shouldn't have gone on this long. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Charles Faust. Charles Faust is the final speaker on this item.
I just want to say on this, I have issues in a lot of the buildings in this city. This building in particular, the bathroom here sucks to try to get into on the first floor. I know a lot of people have had issues with that. Actually, the guy behind me, I had to help him last week get into the bathroom, get out of the bathroom because he was in a wheelchair. So it's just some of the stuff in here, there's just simple things that could be done. And that's just this building, that's not the entire city. So I think that's all I really had to say about that. Thank you.
No, Mr. Bolt.
I signed up for all these and I'm crippled. You're listening to me.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No,
Then you might as well walk right now because I'm not sitting down. I'm crippled and I filled out a slip.
You filled out a slip to testify on items 1 through 10. The consent calendar is taken as a whole, so you get to testify on any items you want for your 2 minutes.
I turned in my slip,
No.
so I did not know. I'll start now.
So,
No, you will not.
Yes, I will. I'm crippled. I've been impacted by this. And I
Please.
signed up for every item before you combined them. Give me my 2 minutes. I will wait.
No.
so the consent calendar is considered one item
Is there a
on the
motion on
agenda.
item? Go ahead.
I put in slip for every other item. I signed up from the first through the public, so I cannot.
So Kevin
skip
Bolts,
that.
please do not disrupt the orderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak out from the audience. You're in violation of Chapter 5 of the Council Rules of Procedure. If you
Where are my
continue, you'll be
slips I
ordered
turned
to
in?
leave the meeting. Do you understand this warning?
Where are my slips I
The
turned in?
consent calendar is considered one item,
And I
and so you
turned in
speak
all the
once.
other items after that. So where are those?
No, 1 through 10 are all
It's
consent.
one item, so you get 2
So-
minutes to speak.
That's,
So
they were
Mr.
all
Bolts,
consent
you've given
items.
fair warning and collected to disrupt this meeting.
I'm disabled.
No.
Because you decided to combine everything.
Please do not disrupt the orderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak from the audience. You are now in violation of Chapter 5 of the Council Rules of Procedure. If you continue, you'll be ordered to leave the meeting. Do you understand?
No, I don't understand, because I don't understand I wouldn't get to speak on every item. or I
Mr.
had to
Bolts,
choose
please
which
take
one I
your
wanted to speak
seat.
on. So my question is, how would I get
Mr.
to speak
Bolt,
on this
please
item?
take your
I'm not
seat.
taking down until I can speak for 2 minutes.
No.
How would I get to speak on this item? You didn't make that clear. We're talking about accessibility. You didn't make that accessible
wanna
to
do?
me.
We're going to recess for 15 minutes.
Sounds like you want us to come.
The council is back in session. Public testimony on item 6 and most of the consent calendar having been concluded with the exception of item 5. I now turn it back to the council and Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes.
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager, I know our city staff, are they going to be coming back to the?
They're coming back down now.
Okay, yeah, the Disabilities Advisory Commission has been asking about the Golden One Center drop-off location for years, a few years, and that's unacceptable to me. We need to make sure that we're responsive to our community so that everyone can enjoy the Golden One Center. So City Manager, I just wanted to see if staff can answer and figure out what the timeline looks like.
Yes, absolutely. So staff is on the way back down in the chambers. And yes, this is something we've been talking about for a couple of years now. We've been working actively with the Sacramento Kings, trying to accommodate the drop-off as discussed in the report, but also trying to make sure that the Kings are able to comply with NBA security. And so it's very complex. And I know just enough to be dangerous. Jesse Gotham, who's our supervising engineer, is going to come down along with our public works director, Matt Ironman. So they'll be here in just a second. It's just an elevator ride down. So
Okay. And then my other question is for you too. A lot of the requests that they made, it says in the analysis from our city staff, it says referred to the diversity and equity manager. So what does the timeline look like for that?
So it's been referred to Ami Barnes at this point, but there's also another piece of it. It's just our accommodations. I forget the name of it. They changed the CIP where we look at ADA accommodations throughout the city, both physical and then through like our webpage and things of that nature. So I don't have a status. I don't think Ami's here tonight, but I can follow up.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great if we can have Ami attend the Disabilities Advisory Commission to give them an update. I think that would be good. And yeah, just Golden One, it's important, so I guess I'll wait for city staff.
Yep.
Councilmember Vang.
Thank you, Mayor. I have several comments actually on several recommendations. So first, I just want to say thank you to the Sacramento Disability Advisory Commission. I know that this is all volunteer time, and so this annual report is really important to me and my council. I would say I would echo, my colleagues value the report as well. And so I just really want to say thank you for your hard work. And I have a few questions really maybe to my colleagues, but also, and then back to, I guess I can't speak to the audience because it was public comment. This is the issue because it was on consent and it's not a public item. So I'm assuming according to process and protocols, I can't really talk to the audience. Exactly. So one thing I just want to bring up is that I know that many of our commission, our Active Transportation Commission, our Disability Advisory Commission, when it comes on consent, they're not able to have a full presentation to the full mayor and council. And so that's just something that I want us to think about and consider. When it does come on consent, it's up to one of us to pull it and then have a discussion, but we still can't engage with the audience. And I feel like that puts me in just a disadvantage, so I just wanted to just name that. But because we were able to pull the item, I do have, just because I can't speak to the DAC, because this is process, I do want to just comment publicly on a few items. So I'm just going to go through probably 4 of them. I know there's 7 of them, but the first one, the DAC committee is asking for an ADA coordinator, and I just want to put on record that I am in full support of that. But I also acknowledge that I know we are heading into a budget deficit, right? With $66 million, we're going out to have these budget conversations. But these types of positions are the kind of position we should be prioritizing, right? I know we have vacancies in the city, but I just want to name that positions like this, the ADA coordinator, the language access coordinator, which the mayor and council voted to approve last year, is currently on hold. And these types of position are citywide position that can help oversee a lot of issues in our city. And so I just wanted to name that because I know we're going to have conversations in our budget discussion, but the ADA coordinator and the language access coordinator is incredibly important. And our DAC commission called it out, so I just wanted to name that. The other item is item 6, and Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes also mentioned this as well. I know she takes her grandma to the Golden One Center to watch concerts and whatnot, because I've seen her at a Spanish concert, right? And I know that it's difficult for many of our seniors and our folks with disability to enter Golden One. And so I know, City Manager, you have responded that you're going to look into this, but I do think this is urgent, and I think this is also a way for us to follow up with the Kings directly if they're watching this, because I'm a big Sacramento Kings fan, right? And I think they would want our residents with disability to be able to enjoy the game and see, the beam, right? And so this should be something that's urgent. It shouldn't be something that we're waiting on. And so just wanted to name that. And then there's 2 other items that I feel like are low-hanging fruits that we can probably get done. One is the update city mandatory training that I requested for mayor and council to have on diversity, equity, inclusion. I have just wanted to share that I have noted that for AMI, we are in the beginning of creating the training for mayor and council to take, and have noted that. But something that I agree with, I think I'll follow up with city staff. I know they work under you, City Manager, but I think it'd be great for our staff to also present to the Disability Advisory Commission on just the work that we're doing around that, and maybe share a little bit about that training. I know we're still in the beginning of it, so I wanted to ask that. And then the other piece, there was a request to actually ask the Disability Advisory Commission to come present at the Council Racial Equity Committee. I think we can do that. Me and the mayor are co-chair of that, and we'd be happy to work with staff to figure out how to agendize that item to make sure that you come to our Racial Equity Committee. I think when we talk about race, gender, equity, inclusion, belonging, we have to think about the intersectionality of disability with race and gender. And so absolutely we can make sure that happens. But I know there are other items that I didn't mention. I think one direction I would have on this item, because we have to vote, right? We have to vote and approve. One direction that I did have is that there's a status report back on each recommendation. I know staff did respond to the report with their status, like refer to so-and-so. We're currently working on the transportation plan, but I think it's important to circle back with the DAC to share the progress made on that 7 recommendation. That's really key. And so my ask is like no later than 2 months. I mean, I don't want to create more work for city staff because I know y'all got a lot on your plate, but we have to figure out how to keep these recommendations consistent, because then what ends up happening is that they get archived online on the archive desk board where it gets really dusty and no one looks at it, right? It's online virtually, but our commission works really hard on these recommendations, and they put a lot of thought into it. And so I don't know if this is through P&P, but for the mayor and council to talk about like how do we monitor the recommendations, right? This is an issue that the police commission had as well. If we are really valuing our boards and commission, then we have to figure out a way to monitor their recommendation. If we decide not to implement the recommendation, then be open and honest about it and say, we can't do it this time because of budget, or A, B, and C. But we have to figure out a way to report back to our boards and commission who puts their time and effort and let them know what we can and can't do. And I think that's actually on the mayor and council. So I would actually ask for PMP to figure out what that process looked like, because putting it on consent, that's great, but we vote to just check off. We should have a monitoring plan to monitor the recommendations made by all our boards and commission. And so that's my direction. If PMP can figure out what that process may look like, that would be really great. And then for the items that I mentioned, happy to figure out, because I think there's 3 or 4 that we can actually just get out of the way, we can get it done. But there's a few that deals with budget that we're gonna have a larger conversation. So those are all my comments, Mayor, and I know this is on consent. Grateful that Mayor Pro Tem pulled the item so we can discuss about it, but hoping, for future cases, we can actually agendize the item so we can have it back and forth, because I can't respond to the public comment. So, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Councilmember Vang. So I do appreciate the fact that you're calling the boards and commissions work plans to come forward and to be discussed, whether they're heard at from this body or from P&PE or from Law and Ledge or from any body that's pertinent. So on that, I'm good with. The report back to this council in 2 months, I will commit to getting a report back. It could be sooner. It could be longer than 2 months. I haven't spoken to staff, so I can't tell you with certainty that can happen, so I don't want to make a commitment I can't keep. But in all likelihood, it should be sooner than that. A couple things with the Golden One Center drop-off. I'm going to have Jesse Gothen speak to this. As I mentioned as they were coming down in the elevator, it is very complex here. And we respond to the request to clear loading areas in conjunction with the Kings, but we've shifted those loading areas around and drop-off areas around at the direct request of the Kings, and also so that they can comply with the NBA safety requirements for the teams, the visiting teams, and actually the Kings as well. There's also a component of Homeland Security that gets put in there too. So maybe I'll let Jesse speak to that, because as I mentioned earlier, I know just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, thank you, City Manager Chan, Mayor, and members of the City Council. The contract is underway with our traffic consultant and our city traffic engineer and the Transportation Division to look at improving the drop-off situation with the Kings. So with that item.
Well, we're talking about what that timeline looks like, and do we have active conversations going on now with the Kings, and what maybe Mr. Ironman could shed some light on that.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Matt Ironman, Director of Public Works. So yes, we've been having ongoing meetings with the Kings. We are now in contract with a vendor to do a full TMP to take a look at all of the traffic control management, but it's going to have a heavy emphasis on ADA drop-off and pickup. So we expect phase 1 of the TMP, which only includes the baseline of the traffic control management, to be about 6 months.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a quick follow-up question to that. Thank you. So one of the concerns that was brought up was is there something that we can do in the short term while we develop that full plan? I understand that there's a lot of other traffic-related issues that need to be resolved in the bigger plan, but is there something we can do right now related to the ADA drop-off as a short-term solution?
Yeah, I think the best way that we can approach this is maybe have a member of the DAC and the Kings and the city sit in a room and see if there's a way that we can do something in between.
Okay, that's good. That's good clarity. Good.
It'll be Brandy.
Well, so with that being said, City Manager, do you think we can coordinate that meeting within the next 2 to 3 weeks?
It would depend on the King's schedule, because our staff, we're ready to go. We just need to make sure they're available.
Okay, we'll follow up with you there.
Yep.
So just for a point of clarification, the ADA drop-off during events that are less than 10,000, allow for drop-off and pickup on L Street, right? So this is really what we're talking about is Kings games, anything 10,000 and above. So for the most part, but I think a good point to cover with the Kings is really how they get that messaging out, that the loading and unloading can happen on L Street for a majority of the events that happen at the Golden One Center.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Jennings.
So that last statement just kind of confused me a little bit about the 10,000 number. And how are they communicating with those who are doing the drop-offs that the game is above 10,000 or below 10,000? And I don't see that as an easy formula to be able to resolve.
Well, I think it's at the time of purchase of the ticket, right? So if it's a Disney on Ice, event, it's definitely going to be under the 10,000 threshold. If it's a Kings basketball game, then it would be over the 10,000 and require a full traffic management plan, which would limit ADA loading to 4th Street.
So, okay, so you gave me another piece because 4th Street wasn't included. I had L Street, but I didn't have 4th Street. And so I think my question to you is, what is the process for communicating to those who are dropping off that they've got to go 4th Street or L Street?
Well, I think that's the point of clarification that we need to make with the Kings to get that out to the general public. Right now, it's just really a drive-up scenario where the signage would point you to the loading zone.
Councilmember Jennings, may I interject here too? Because one of the issues that came up probably about 6 months ago is that if you get to that threshold that's less than 10,000 attendees, the Kings have the ability when they print the tickets to notify the ticket holder where pickup and drop-off could be for accessible spaces. So that's the point. I think Mr. Ironman was talking about coordinating that better so that the Kings can push that information out in advance so people can plan better. So you don't just show up and we can't drop off here. We got to go to 4th Street and vice versa. That's the conversation we're going to be having with them. I don't know if Ms. Boyd is going to be in the room too, but I think that would be a good conversation to have.
Yeah, I've been a season ticket holder for a long time, so I'm fully aware, but just from a communication standpoint, some people buy their tickets at the last minute, some people buy their tickets as a season ticket holder. And so that communication, I think, can be, unless we really work on effective communication, it can break down real easily because you can't get the word out to those who have bought at the last minute, and now this game is over 10,000.
Sure.
So I really want you to kind of dig deep on that to make sure that we don't further inconvenience those who are trying to get into the game based on being handicapped. We don't further limit their ability to be able to enjoy the game and the whole event.
Sure. Councilmember Jennings, I will be in the room, and it is going to be a strong emphasis on correcting those issues and also coming up with viable solutions for ADA drop-off.
Perfect.
All right. So
Are we cool with those directions though, that I made?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on record, okay.
It's on record.
Okay, great.
Okay, so is there a motion with that direction and second?
I will make a motion for item for number 6 with those directions that I made. It was for P&P to look at the monitoring of the recommendations of all boards and commissions. I don't know what that process is, but I will leave it to P&P to figure out what that may look like. The second one is the report back on the recommendations to DAC and to the mayor and council on status update. And the third was the Kings, but it looks like you are all going to meet with DAC and the Kings to figure out a solution. So, and then there was the other 2 items, but we'll handle it. It's the racial equity committee. We'll have them come to our racial equity committee. Yeah, so
Great.
that's the motion on the table.
That is moved and seconded. Thank you. I'm glad you made this suggestion about the Racial Equity Committee because these are civil rights issues. Disability rights are civil rights issues. Absolutely. Thank you. That's a good discussion, and we're moving towards solving a significant problem that we heard about here tonight. And thank you all for coming to City Hall and being heard. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose, abstain. That leaves one item left on the consent calendar, and that is item 5. and that is the Active Transportation Commission. Again, I should clarify, Councilmember Fink, just because you talked about, because everyone knows this, but it's just to remind the public that members can take any item off the consent calendar, and then it is heard like it's a regular discussion item. There aren't separate rules. In other words, staff presentation, public testimony, members engage, including questioning witnesses, whatever it is you want. That's the purview of any member. So it isn't qualitatively different.
Mayor, can I ask for clarification? If the DAC is presenting via public comment with 2 minutes, I thought that we weren't able to go back and forth. That's the reason why having it as a, I know we can go back and forth, but I can't go back and forth with the DAC. And they're the one putting forth the recommendation. So,
Sure you can.
I can't? I just want
Yes, you
to,
can.
she's saying no, Kaplan's saying no, so I just want some clarification on that.
Okay.
So in reality, when this comes to council, the process that was created is the full conversation happens at PMPE, of which then the annual review comes for adoption, which wasn't created until we just created this because there was no annual report. If we want to have a specific conversation, we should have it amongst ourselves, but we should also, if you're not on PMPE, watch it or call DAC or call them to have the questions.
I think that's the preference, because I think the P&P committee's doing so much work on this. We do not have the time, frankly, to have full hearings on every commission. That's right. I'm just saying that in any instance, if any member wants to have an item discussed fully, then the member has a right to do that. But I think we should urge, just as you said, Councilmember Kaplan, for the work to be done at P&PE, just for the council's own time. That's all.
Just because I want to make it very clear, like, all of us were very passionate about this issue and did direct staff to get on it right away, especially with the ADA and for report back to DAC, as well as fixing the doors and what the status was. So a lot of, that conversation does happen there, and that's where we were trying to make it more efficient in approving the yearly process.
All right, something to keep working on. I got it. Good points. Okay, let's now hear the staff presentation, though, because it has been requested to be heard separately. Is there a staff presentation? Or do we just want to go right to public comment? Let's go right to public comment. Go right ahead. Hey, we're figuring it out as we go here, okay? Thank you for your patience, everybody. Go ahead.
So to clarify for members of the public, we're speaking on item number 5 on the consent calendar, which is the Active Transportation Commission 2023 Annual Report. I'll call off a few names. Keon Bliss on this item 5 and item 1, Jim Hoopt, Isaac Gonzalez, Arlette Hodel.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm Jim Haupt, the District 7 appointee to the Active Transportation Commission. I'm the last of the originally appointed members of this commission. I do want to say I'm speaking for myself tonight rather than for the commission, although our opinions are probably in alignment on the issues that I want to raise. One of the first recommendations that we made to this council almost 6 years ago was a badly needed construction and special event detour policy. Too often, walkers, bicyclists, and now scooters find their way suddenly blocked without advance notice or any warning that a sidewalk or road will be blocked off for construction or special events. That's inconvenient, but worse, it's dangerous for vulnerable users of our roads and sidewalks. You will see that this policy is on our list of recommendations again this year, but I'm pleased to report that our Transportation Planning Manager, Jennifer Donlin Wyatt, says that the policy is making its way through review and approval process. You will likely see it on the agenda in the very near future. I urge you to approve the construction and special event detour policy when it comes to you. And the good news is that Ms. Donlin Wyatt says this isn't going to cost the city anything. But that brings me to my next point. Given the city's expected financial situation, you'll have some difficult decisions ahead. Please do not shortchange active transportation. We need to continue protecting our most vulnerable road users. We have much more work to do to ensure safety for walkers, riders, and scooters. I hope the continuation of that work will not be an afterthought. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Keon Bliss, then Isaac Gonzalez.
Couldn't agree more with the Active Transportation Commission's comments. This should not be an afterthought, and frankly, their body and the Disability Advisory Body and the Police Review Commission all deserve to have an opportunity to be able to answer your questions directly outside of the 2-minute comment period. Just to speak to the recommendations there, I mean, all of the recommendations that ATC had applied make common sense, and the fact that not like a lot of it isn't going to cost the city really anything. It's just a matter of shifting policies and trying different things. Really should make this a no-brainer because, as is pointed out, there are a lot of disparities when it comes to transportation infrastructure, which are stark. Is with studies as far back as 2012 finding that particularly communities of color frequently lack crosswalks and sidewalks. Similarly, streets with sidewalks on both sides are common in mostly high-income areas, which you can tell in places like East Sacramento or Land Park, but while middle-income and low-income communities have far less access, which is most particularly noticeable in South Sacramento. High-income areas overwhelmingly have street and sidewalk lighting as well, with 75% coverage, while middle-income and low-income neighborhoods lag at 54% and 51% respectively. But just to name that, a lot of these recommendations too I see are synonymous with traffic calming measures, which would actually go a long way to not just address some of these disparities, as well as reduce the number of pedestrian hit and runs and fatalities that we are experiencing at a disproportionate rate compared to other cities. But it would also reduce community members, particularly Black community members, interactions with law enforcement, which numerous studies since 2001 continue to show are disproportionately impacted by traffic stops as well as non-traffic stops, particularly pedestrian stops, where Black residents are almost 6 times as likely.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Isaac Gonzalez, then Arlette Hodel, then Kay Crum.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Isaac Gonzalez. I'm a lifelong resident of the City of Sacramento. I'm the appointed Vice Chair of the Active Transportation Commission, and I'm also the founder of Slow Down Sacramento. As you may know, there's over 40 e-comments online for this item this evening in favor of supporting the Active Transportation Commission's recommendations, many also which about bringing this to the full council as an agendized item. 2 weeks ago in Tahoe Park, Slow Down Sacramento held a traffic safety forum, which was well attended by over 50 people from all across the city. We spent over 2 hours looking at the systemic issues with our city and talking about potential solutions. I can just tell you that from my experience, the moment is ripe for discussion and dialogue, and the people are hungry to discuss it. So the opportunity to have a full report from staff and from the chair of the commission, I think, is an opportunity that you should not lose. One day, hopefully soon, we will reach our Vision Zero goals. And after we do that, maybe for a year or two, and prove that we can sustain it, we can put this item on the consent calendar. But until then, there's plenty of really good ideas and really good need from our city, and I think we should continue to discuss it with the full freight that we did for the 2022 recommendations. The likelihood of being killed in this city while using a car or walking or riding your bike as a vulnerable road user is more likely than you being killed in a homicide right now. So this is really a public health crisis and a really big issue in our city that deserves our full attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Arlette Hodel. Following Arlette is Kay Crum.
Hello. I am Arlette Hodel, a resident of District 1, Chair of the Active Transportation Commission, and an avid cyclist. I'd like to thank Jennifer Donlin Wyatt and her team for creating a very well-crafted report, fellow commissioners for their individual viewpoints and constructive participation to achieve active transportation goals. Everyone here tonight should also be thanked for making a public comment, and to those who made comments online. Your voice makes a difference. Show up, speak up. Our #1 need in active transportation is to increase the budget, but the current deficit may not allow that. I still want you to increase the budget, but at the very least, please, no reduction. Why? The dollars allocated for active transportation have multiplied benefits.
improved community health and mobility, increased property values, reduced air pollution, road congestion, and transportation costs, and it certainly adds to an equitable transportation system. All this beyond the dollars spent. A win in so many areas. Thank you for doing the right thing.
Thank you for your comments. Kay Crum, then Mark Harmon, then Julie Berry.
Hi, I'm Kay, District 6. I support the Active Transportation Commission's recommendations. And, you know, I've been coming to these for about a year now, and you all know my opinion. I think that it's really good for the city to have cheap or free alternatives to make things safer for, you know, pedestrians and cyclists, and like the quick build and things that aren't on there, like leading pedestrian intervals or slowing down the light signals so that it's more timed to cyclist timing to encourage people to ride their bikes more. So things like that would be great. But like you, I travel for work. You know, I'm traveling to the grocery store, I'm traveling to shops, I'm living my life like all of you. But unlike you, I don't have a car. Maybe some of you don't have cars as well. But most people in the city of Sacramento don't live that life. And so they don't understand that every day I leave my house, I always have this thing in the back of my head that says, am I going to make it home today? And just because I'm going and living my life, it's really frustrating that that's the experience that I have every day. And having experienced, you know, near misses and stuff like that. So I'm tired of that worry. And, you know, I stayed here to make this comment. It's getting dark out there. I'm about to go bike home, so hoping I make it home. And I would love if the city did more to make it so I didn't have that worry when I get home. Thank you.
Comments? Mark Harmon, then Julie Berry.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Mark Harmon, and I'm from District 7. I'll be brief real quick. I'm here to support the Active Transportation Commission's 2023 report. The recommendations need a full hearing with a presentation from staff and to be debated by the council. These recommendations will help slow down unsafe drivers in Sacramento, and we need to promote active transportation for the future of our city because it will reduce traffic and it will make it much easier to get around the city. It's a cheap, easy, cost-effective form of transportation solution. And I just want to say one more thing. I live in Land Park, and I'm kind of tired of almost getting hit in my car at intersections, and I'm kind of tired of almost getting hit on my bicycle too. So I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Julie Berry, then Emily Estes.
Good evening. My name is Julie Berry, and I am also a resident of District 7. And today I am speaking in support of the Active Transportation Committee's recommendations. I also believe that this report deserves a full hearing from staff and then from public comment and then full committee discussion. I am a cyclist, an avid cyclist. I am a pedestrian, and I'm a driver. This is a public safety issue. We should not be taking our lives in our hands every time we leave our front door. It's critical to slow down unsafe driving, and promoting active transportation is equally important to reduce traffic deaths. Active transportation is cheap relative to motor vehicle infrastructure. This is something that pays back great dividends, as one of the previous speakers mentioned. We need sustained funding and attention to implement the recommendations of this report, and I strongly urge you to take positive action on that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Emily Estes, then Rebecca Catlett. Is Emily here? And speakers, feel free to line up in the aisle. Emily Estes, Rebecca Catlett, Jerry Champa.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Rebecca. I'm here to voice my support of the Active Transportation Commission's annual report findings, and I was disappointed to see that Council added this report as an item of consent rather than discussion. Yet another bicyclist was killed recently, this time on 21st and X Streets. The work of ATC is critical. I don't think that the report goes far enough to underscore the urgency of this issue, and in my comment, I aim to emphasize the specific way the City Council can help ATC and all of us make Sacramento a safe place to be. First, the ATC report requests additional funding. I understand the city has a looming deficit and a budget to balance. However, simply put, we will not meet our city's goals if an increase in sustained funding is not granted by Council. The city's general plan update, Vision Zero, and climate adaptation plans are all in jeopardy if additional funding is not secured. Secondly, we need to increase our leadership presence with our partners in the region. Sacramento's unsafe streets is an issue to us all. Therefore, we need to step up and show our presence to our partners like Caltrans, County of Sacramento, and Union Pacific that this issue is important to us. And I encourage you to raise these jurisdictional issues and concerns about the safety of Sacramentans in your conversations with our partners. They need to hear a message from all levels that enough is enough. And third, we need to think about the way we're engineering our streets to meet our goals. Therefore, Council should consider or task the ATC to consider no right turn on red policies, increase protected left turns for vehicles, increasing our protected bike lane network, and work to identify opportunities for quick builds to create more visibility on crosswalks now. We must consider pedestrian, bicyclist, and scooter load just as we do vehicle load, because that is the future that we want to build. Whether you are in a car, walking, or riding your bike, this issue affects us all. Enough is enough. Vision Zero can't be obtained in less than 3 years with the current level of funding.
For your comments. Our next speaker is Emily Estes, then Jerry Champa. And I don't see Emily. Jerry Champa. Following Jerry is Art Taylor.
Good evening. Jerry Champa, and I live in District 7. First, I would like to recognize and applaud the work of the Active Transportation Commission. I also want to recognize the importance of Slow Down Sacramento as an organization which is giving residents a way to raise their awareness and give them an opportunity to engage in solutions in a way which can supplement the efforts of a very under-resourced city safety program. I would like to express full support for the ATC's recommendations, but it's difficult to do so without meaningful public discourse or at least the opportunity to comment on the prioritization of specific funding recommendations. More active transportation infrastructure is needed, but there is an equal need and possibly a more compelling argument for greater investment in infrastructure adjustments to halt the ongoing epidemic of fatal and injury crashes. Not everyone is aware the traffic fatalities and severe injuries have increased by 50% since adoption of the Vision Zero plan in 2018. This obviously suggests that the current Vision Zero investment strategy has not been as effective as it needs to be, possibly because the level of investment has been insufficient, possibly because the strategy relies upon very large, multi-purpose, and therefore expensive and time-consuming reconstruction projects along major arterial corridors instead of focusing on hotspots, intersections. Adequate resources, and especially the effective use of available resources, are critical, but they are also needed to halt and treat the cause of the severe crash epidemic. In closing, I would like to ask one fundamental question. Is there a commission, task force, or other process which is generating recommendations to right-size the resources allocated for traffic safety improvements and to increase the effectiveness of the safety program's investment strategy? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Art Taylor, then Matt Anderson.
It's not here.
Matt Anderson, Marbella Sala, Ali Dewar Westbrook, Alejandro Cervantes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Matt Anderson, District 4.
Would also like to appreciate all of the work of the ATC members, the amazing city staff we have that work on these issues all the time, and all the members of the public, 40 comments, and all the people here today. This is, like it was said, an epidemic of violence. For the last 5 years, we've averaged 5,000 people a year either hurt or killed in traffic accidents in Sacramento. That's people killed in every one of your districts. And that's a big deal. I mean, if this isn't like a #1 priority, it should be pretty close. And dedicating a lot of resources is pretty important. I know budget deficit, it's talked about a lot. One thing I'd like to highlight in the recommendations is the quick build of bikeways. Our staff has been doing again, amazing things with quick builds already. They've been leveraging like paint and used plastic diverters into really cool stuff on Broadway and 34th and some other projects around the city. So giving them just a little more money to do just more stuff, I think could go a long way. So really support that recommendation. And I'd also like to recognize that none of you need to be experts in active transportation or public works engineering. That's what you've got the commissioners for. That's what you've got staff for. And so I'd encourage all of you over the next week to grab a coffee with your commissioner, grab a coffee with your staff, ask them about these recommendations, have a chat, see what they think. I tried to fill out the budget survey, and there was nothing in there about supporting active transportation. There was no write-in option, which was rather unfortunate. So I'm just here to voice my support for that now, and really hoping that we can work to make this a better and safer Sacramento over.
Marbella Sala, then Ali Dewar-Westbrook, Alejandro Cervantes.
Good evening. And first of all, I want to thank Jennifer and her team. I want to thank the Active Transportation Commissioners for listening to the voices of Gardenland Northgate community. We've been talking about the safety on Northgate for many, many years, and they've listened and they've heard our concerns, and it's addressed in their report. I want to just highlight that you all know that Northgate is not safe. I would ask any of you, get on your bicycle and try to go down Northgate and see how you feel on your bicycle on Northgate, or even walking. We have a beautiful Northgate mobility plan that was beautiful, comprehensive, but it's not funded. There's no money. In that plan, it allows for safe walking, safe bicycle, but there's no money. I hear on a regular basis, as president of the Gardenland Northgate Neighborhood Association, people telling me every week that there was an accident, that someone was hurt. I hear it because I live right off of Northgate, the speeding. So in their recommendations, they talk about traffic calming mechanisms. We need that on Northgate while we wait for the funding for our mobility plan. We need that. And if we can have that, people will feel safer to well, maybe ride their bikes. But if we could get part of that e-bike incentive program that's been recommended, that would be great for our community. So I just really support the recommendation. And my last comment is, I agree with everyone. This should have not been on the consent calendar. It should have been pulled for a full discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Ali Dewar-Westbrook, Alejandro Cervantes.
Okay, I think it's set up appropriately. All right. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Ali Dewar-Westbrook, and I'm the immediate past chair of the Active Transportation Commission. I live and work in District 4 and walk and bike around our city on a daily basis. More times than I can count, I've had near misses while traveling in the bike lane or crossing the street at a marked crosswalk. Even traveling to this meeting this evening, I was almost hit by a car pulling into a parking garage owned by the city. Sadly, this is an experience many folks in our community are familiar with, and why I'm so passionate about making changes to support infrastructure for people, not just cars. And you've heard that from many of us in the room today. Thank you to several council members who have elevated the need for more of a discussion around our 2023 annual report and taking it off consent. I appreciate the great discussion we had at PNPE, but I think this is a matter that everyone on council needs to be a part of. So I think in the future, we'd really like our reports to go in front of all of you. With the city budget workshops currently underway, this is a pivotal time to have this conversation, and people are ready. There's over 40 e-comments for this item and dozens of people in the room tonight. We spent the past 2 years working collaboratively with community members to develop a list of 10 recommendations, which you can see here and also online. And our 2023 report is nearly identical to what we provided to you all last year. The one key difference is that we've worked with Jennifer Donlin Wyatt and her team in transportation planning to identify additional staffing and associated costs for each of our recommendations. Sacramento continues to rank among the most dangerous places for people walking and biking in all of California and across the country. We know what needs to be done in order to prevent this tragic trend and to stop seeing the loss of lives on our city streets. But our city budget needs to reflect that, and right now it does not. So thank you for your time. I know we're not going to have a discussion.
Your comments. Our next speaker is Alejandra Cervantes, then Taylin Wong.
Hello, my name is Alejandra Cervantes, and I am a resident of District 4, but I walk all over the city. Today, I stand before you as an advocate for active transportation, urging you to support the recommendations outlined in the Active Transportation Commission's report. As someone who chooses to live car-free in our city, walking is not just a mode of transportation for me, it's a way of life. Whether it's walking to the grocery store, supporting local businesses, meeting up with friends, strolling home from Kings games, or making my way to these city council meetings, walking is my primary means of getting around. I choose active transportation because I recognize the benefits of walking, biking, and public transit, not just for myself, but for the health, vibrancy, and vitality of our city. Investing in active transportation projects not only promotes healthier lifestyles, but also reduces traffic congestion, improves air quality, encourages commerce, reduces the wear and tear on our streets, and countless other benefits. However, walking in our city also presents its challenges. Our streets are dangerous and unwelcoming to pedestrians, with fast-moving traffic and inadequate infrastructure. In fact, Sacramento is the most dangerous major California city for traffic violence. I can tell you from personal experience that crossing city streets often feels like playing a very high-stakes game of Frogger, trying to guess whether or not a speeding car will stop for me at marked crosswalks. As you know, the city's Vision Zero goal is 0 pedestrian deaths by 2027, and sadly, we are far from this. My understanding is there were 23 pedestrian fatalities in 2023, and we won't get there without your support. Increasing funding for active transportation projects is crucial. We need wide, well-lit sidewalks, streets designed to slow traffic, and protected bike lanes. All of this to encourage more people to choose walking and cycling as viable transportation options. My fellow active transportation advocates and I don't simply talk the talk when it comes to the benefits of active transportation. We quite literally walk the walk. Please help us make this walk more safe and accessible for all Sacramentans by supporting the Active Transportation Commission's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Talon Wong, then Deborah Banks, then Sonia Hedren.
Hi, I'm Talon Wong, and I live in District 7, which I admit is one of the most bike and pedestrian-friendly districts in our city. I'm so grateful to live there. I want to voice my wholehearted support for the Active Transportation Commission's recommendation, particularly for their support for citywide safe routes to school. Every once in a while, due to very poor planning on my part, I end up driving near a school at 8 a.m. or 3 p.m. And I think the best way to summarize that experience is too many cars. Why are there so many cars at school drop-off and pickup? I think if you would ask the drivers in those cars, they would say because they don't feel safe letting their kids get themselves to school. As a public educator, I can tell you that almost all children in our city are developmentally able to get themselves to school. But I know better than most the feeling of not feeling like your child is safe on their way to school. My daughter was hit by an SUV going 35 miles an hour while she was biking to California Middle School. She spent a month in the hospital and several months following that in physical therapy and recovering from a traumatic brain injury. It has been 4 years, and as a side note, she's doing great. So hooray. But she beat the odds. When you are hit by a vehicle going 35 miles an hour, you got a 50% chance of death. Human error is inevitable, but ending up dead is not. That is something that we have chosen based on where we put our money and our minds in building our infrastructure over the last several decades. We have prioritized the flow of traffic over many other more important goals. So despite my experience, my 4 children still get themselves to school because it brings them joy. They develop independence. They build community. Their physical health and mental health is improved. They become more observant and they become better citizens. If you make it safe for them, the rest of the city's children can join them.
Thank you for your comments. Deborah Banks, then Sonia Hendren. Deborah Banks, Sonia Hendren, Troy Sankey.
Sorry. Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to our comments here tonight. I'm Deb Banks. I'm the Executive Director of SABA, the Sacramento Area Bicycle Advocates. I'm also a member of the Active Transportation Commission, and I'm an avid cyclist. And I live in District 6. So you've heard a lot tonight about the importance of active transportation from a safety standpoint. Heartbreaking stories. Our Vision Zero efforts need to be rebooted, and it's really important that the ATC works and that we work collectively to have our streets safe for all users. But I'm going to talk about something slightly different. Last week, I believe you all adopted the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan and the General Plan for the city. So I want to talk a little bit about VMT and reduction of vehicle miles traveled. The Rocky Mountain Institute, which is a very large think tank out in Colorado, has done some calculations, and their research shows and talks about the average number of miles that people drive every year is about 14,000 miles, a little bit, give or take, higher or lower. If we were able to take and get people to switch to riding a bike, an e-bike per se, we can possibly lower VMT to the extent that it equates to having 138 cars off the road every year. That's going to help our safety. That's going to help our streets be safer for everybody, and that's going to be really great for our climate goals. So as you've all heard, we know that we want safety for our streets, but we also want to reach our climate goals, and active transportation is the least expensive way to do both things. Thanks very much for your time.
Your comments. Sonia Hendren. Following Sonia is Troy Sankey, then Alyssa Lee.
Hello, my name is Sonia Hendren. I'm a league cycling instructor through the League of American Bicyclists, and I try to get kids on bikes. Turnout is a challenge. Do you know what I do when I want a larger turnout, when I feel that something is important enough that I want to reach more kids? When I want a larger turnout, I contact a local police department and request a police escort for my event. With a police escort, attendance for bike events increases tenfold. An event that may have had 10 or 12 kids suddenly has well over 100. This shows that 90% of parents think our streets are too dangerous to use without a car or a police escort. That's how dangerous your constituents think the Sacramento streets are. That's why it's so important to fund the ATC recommendations to create safe transportation options. Because as I've personally experienced, the demand for active transportation is there when people have an option that they feel is safe. Then people will be on board with making Sacramento more livable, more sustainable, working toward our climate goals, improving public health through active lifestyles, reduced noise pollution, cleaner air, creating community by interacting outdoors, bringing foot and bike traffic to businesses. But you have to increase funding for safe transportation options because right now, people are afraid to use the Sacramento streets. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Troy Sankey. Following Troy is Alyssa Lee, then Jason.
Hi, my name is Troy. I'm from District 4. I support Agenda Item 5, the Active Transportation Commission recommendations. Prioritize investments in active transportation to save money. Walking and biking infrastructure is a wealth multiplier, which means that it pays significant dividends. That doesn't mean it literally pays revenue. I hope you'll agree with countless studies that it saves the city money on infrastructure maintenance and other costs associated with suburban development patterns. It does this by reducing auto infrastructure demand, fostering a denser and more robust tax base, and encouraging a culture of walking, cycling, and taking transit. This culture makes it easier to politically adopt more policies in the future that make it easier to walk in a feedback loop. Kick off this process today and take steps towards a fiscally solvent Sacramento. Save money and ride a bike.
Thank you for your comments. Alyssa, then Jason.
Hi, Council. My name is Elisa Lee. I'm a resident of District 4 and a member of Strong Sacktown. I fully support the ATC's recommendations and the funding that they need in order to make them happen. In the city's 2022 pavement condition report, a conservative estimate for repaving 1 lane mile in fair condition is $279,000, which adds up to nearly $900,000 in liability for the city, given our over 3,000 miles of lanes. So there's lots of facts that show that more car usage, especially heavier cars, leads to more costs for the city. These ATC recommendations, while they request more funding for the ATC, will save us in the long term because it allows people who don't use cars, can't use cars, or don't want to use cars, as evidenced by the 49E comments saying just as much, to be able to do that safely. In 2021, the city piloted a slow and active streets 8-month pilot in 4 neighborhoods covering over 6 miles. And that entire program cost less than repairing 1 single lane mile of road. And it could be even cheaper because most of it was due to the man hours to put up signs. So when we talk about a $66 million deficit, we need to get more creative about transforming how we think about funds. When we use over 30% of the funds on police, and about 5% or less on public works, and almost nothing from the general fund on active transportation, this is a total messed up set of priorities. And lastly, it's just really disrespectful to the commissions to not allow them to actually have robust discussion. They give so many free hours of their time to make the city better. And when I look at the budget survey and there's no real way to give response, it just highlights the lack of trust from residents to actually meaningfully be part of making our city better, because it really is our city, not the council city.
Thank you for your comments. We have 4 more speakers on this item. The next is Jason. I have 4 more speakers. Jason? I don't see any movement. Cesar Aguirre, Jordan Mata, then Donald Gibson.
Good evening, Council. My name is Cesar. I live in District 4. I have lived in District 8. I have family in every corner of the city. I have loved ones in every corner of the city. And I want to speak also to a bit of the noise that we're hearing. I am so grateful for everyone who has shown up for getting the loss of life to be prioritized at our council. And I think that is exactly what our commissions, who are attempting not to be kind of just looked over by being put on consent. So I really applaud Councilmember Vang for speaking to how we should handle very thoughtful input that comes our way at the council level. And I believe it does belong here with all of us, everyone on council and everyone who can speak at council as well. And I want to emphasize allowing people to speak as well when they have signed up for items. So, I want to talk about, again, loss of life. How are we prioritizing our decision-making, right? We have a lot of car centricity in our country. It's not exclusive to Sacramento, but we have to prioritize the changes that are going to bring us a reduction of costliness, a reduction of collisions, right? Collisions that I have suffered myself living my whole life here in Sacramento repeatedly at the mercy of cars, living at the mercy of cars. Right? A lot of people have spoken on that. These collisions result in contusions, concussions. I've suffered all of those and more. Ended up on crutches. Thankfully not losing my life, but oh my gosh, do I see almost every day white bikes around the city where people have already lost their lives. And it's like, how much more do we have to lose before we realize that this is the priority not only for our funding, but for our lives and for the climate as well. So.
Thank you for your comments. Jordan Matta, then Donald Gibson.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. I'm Jordan Matta, a resident of District 7. I want to be kind of quick because everybody's covered most of what I want to talk about, but I just want to highlight safety issues. I'm deeply concerned with the safety issues faced by pedestrians and cyclists in our city. Despite the city's stated commitment to safety and equity in active transportation, the rising rates of pedestrian deaths indicate that we are not addressing these issues with the urgency they demand. In 2017, Vision Zero aimed for 0 pedestrian deaths, but we are trending in the wrong direction. Dangerous streets have been identified, but prompt action to enhance safety has been lacking, leading to preventable fatalities. I implore you to take immediate action and engage with the recommendations outlined in the Active Transportation Commission's 2023 report. Specifically, I wish to emphasize the importance of recommendation number 6 regarding quick build bikeways. While permanent infrastructure improvements are undoubtedly necessary, quick builds present a more immediate and cost-effective solution to protect lives of pedestrians and cyclists. We have witnessed successful implementations of quick builds in various corridors, such as the Midtown portion of J Street, demonstrating that we can make impactful changes swiftly. But the bits of improvement that we have are often followed with high-speed roads and bike lanes and door zones. This urgency lies in preventing further loss of life on our streets and ensuring that citizens feel safe utilizing active transportation options. It is imperative to align our actions with the goals outlined in the recently passed 2040 General Plan, prioritizing bikes and pedestrians over cars. I wholeheartedly support the Active Transportation Commission's 2023 report, and I urge City Council to act upon its recommendations and grant funding for its work. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Donald Gibson.
Hello, Commissioners and Mayor. My name is Don Gibson. I'm the District 3 appointee and a member of the River Oaks neighborhood. Instead of speaking about some of the bad things, I'm going to think about something for positive for this. Is active transportation measures work. There is strong empirical evidence that traffic calming saves lives. And even better, they're politically popular. Car-centric Los Angeles just last week voted by a 2-to-1 margin to support Measure HLA, which sets together a prioritization for bike lanes, bus lanes, and traffic calming. As you probably heard from community members and all the comments online, these are things that people like and are relatively cheap. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. That completes the public testimony. I think I'm going to take the privilege of starting on this one and turn it over to my colleagues. I want to just say how much I appreciate all the organizing effort that went into coming tonight. And of course, it is the way we've set this up, and it's for effectiveness and efficiency's sake. And I'm grateful to Councilmember Kaplan for holding a thorough hearing on this at the P&PE committee as well. This is organizing in action, and it speaks to a vital public safety issue in our community. And as we face this deficit, and even if we didn't face the deficit, even if we had a modest surplus, I think the challenge and the opportunity would still be the same. And I want to urge all of us, and I know we think about this a lot, to really focus on the future, specifically 2026, and let's put together a ballot measure that funds quality of life here in Sacramento. Safe and complete streets, public transportation, and workforce and affordable housing. No sprawl-related roadways, safe and active streets, affordable housing, and public transportation. And because it is the only way in this city, which has its limited tax base, although we intend to grow that tax base over time with more good, inclusive infill and economic development, but is the only way in this city that we can gain the resources, the local match, that is so essential for us to be able to meet all of these excellent recommendations in your report. Thank you for laying the right foundation, and we'll be thinking about this as we address the deficit. I know I will, as we address the deficit in the coming weeks and months. Thank you. Vice Mayor?
All right, thank you, Mayor. And I just really wanted to thank everyone who showed up to speak today, who organized, who came out to have your voices heard, and really thought it was the right thing to do to take this off the agenda and to talk about it in a more robust fashion, because it's something that's, you know, I'm a cyclist, I'm a pedestrian. I have almost been killed more times than I can count in the city trying to get around, and that's recently. And it is something that I know really impacts all of us on this dais. We get the calls from our police captains when there are these fatalities and these injuries, and it's always heartbreaking. And I can't stop thinking to myself, you know, we need to do more. And so I know that that's something that's top of mind for all of us. I really also want to impress some of the comments that were already made tonight. This is a public safety issue. This is about our safety and our lives. All residents of Sacramento. I also heard one of the speakers talk about equity. That's true, right? So try cycling anywhere in South Sacramento, especially down Franklin Boulevard, Stockton Boulevard, Broadway, Florin, Mack, Freeport, and we know that those are some of those high injury networks, and most of those touch, you know, my district, my Bangs district, and others, and so that's why we see these increases. It was really shocking to me when I pulled up some of the data today, in preparation, to see that we are, you know, looking at the graph that was provided, we have higher rates of fatalities, pedestrian fatalities in 2022 than 2013. The highest that it's ever been was last year. And it seems to continue to grow that way. And so that's very shocking, it's scary. And I think it's really impacting everybody's ability to live their life, back to the mayor's comments on quality of life. I also really appreciated the constructive comments around creativity and using some cost-effective, you know, shorter-term solutions. I'm really interested in those, and I know that, I'm eyes wide open. Everything costs money, you know, and it will have a price tag, and we're going to have to deal with that as a council and as a body. But we have to think about what are the outcomes that we want to see. What are we putting in, and what are we getting out? So I'm certainly interested in fighting for those as we discuss our budget moving forward. And I hear the frustration of a lot of my community members too around, there's a lot of really wonderful plans that our incredible staff work on all the time, including Freeport and others, but it's all about funding, you know, and most of those are completely grant funded, including even staff positions at times. And so that's something that we have to grapple with. And I do appreciate the mayor's comments, because we have to be constructive too, right? What does this mean? We need to fight for ways to make sure that we have that local match, right? We've got to make sure that we've got that funding so that we can be competitive for the state and federal money as well. It can't all come from us. We just don't have the tax base for that. And so, but these things are important. And there's one thing too that really stood out to me that one of the commenters said, and it was around, let me make sure I say this right. It's making sure that that we're creating something for the outcomes that we want to see, right? And I think having a city that's designed the way that we want to see it, we certainly don't have a city that's designed around pedestrians and cyclists. We have a city that's designed around cars, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but we have to start to change that. And that's something that's really important to me. And so one thing that I am interested in, and I'm not sure to what degree this would be helpful, but I noticed that San Francisco passed a state of emergency resolution around their pedestrian and cyclist deaths. And that was in 2022, allowing them to prioritize and possibly seek more funding. So I'd love a little bit of direction for staff is to do some research into that and see whether or not that is something that could be beneficial for our city as we grapple with this is clearly a key issue. And then my last comment will be, I really want to agree with Councilmember Bangs' comments earlier around our progress reports. Nothing frustrates me more than watching a report sit on a shelf. And we're very guilty of that in government at all levels. And so I would love to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence and upholding my responsibility by tracking all these recommendations, and then also being honest, right? There are some that we're just gonna have to say, we don't have the money this year, but we have to be honest with ourselves and our communities about those things. But really taking a look and seeing what are the things that we can do now, what are the things that we can do in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and so on. And so I will end my comments there, but just again, really appreciate our incredible staff, our commissioners, and all the public that showed up today. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, let me just start off by thanking my Active Transportation Commissioner and all the Active Transportation Commissioners for being here. I really am excited of where the commission is today, because I still remember voting on the creation of the Active Transportation Commission and the hopes and aspirations of what we wanted out of that process. And having served as a county planning commissioner and seeing the generations and decades of poor planning that have led to this, using the Active Transportation Commission to say, that is the past, we have to think about the future. And not only that, but what are the things we can do today? To me, it excites me to see this. Not only that, but I remember also when we made that first bold decision to say we're going to change our way of thinking in public works, the way we think about transportation. And was very proud to vote on our Vision Zero plan. And that couldn't have happened without then some new staff, so Jennifer Donlan Wyatt, for thinking and being out of the box, because I remember when I first proposed a change in a city resolution as part of a finding, not even anything significant, but to include active transportation. And it was pushed back. We had great staff, but it was pushed back because it wasn't the traditional form of transportation. And I'm looking at Allie over there because her and I both have worked at Caltrans, and we know that what the thinking can be in the engineer's world. And so I'm excited about this. I also want to thank the grassroots organizing work of Stronger Sacramento. We had an amazing discussion this past week about what does our city look like, and it's that level of activism. And they asked me, what can you do? I said, let's look at a consistent small wins as a way of organizing. Don't forget the big vision, but those small wins. And to that point, thank you, Jim, on bringing up the issue of construction. I mean, there's so many times that I cycle with my kids with the cargo bike since Javier was a baby, and there's construction happening all the time, which is a positive thing. That means that we're moving, we're evolving. But when the bike lane is blocked off and you have to go immediately into traffic without any recognition, or if you're just a pedestrian, as you said, during an event or the CIM or whatnot, we could do a better job of our construction plan. And that recommendation is outlined here in the active transportation analysis. Thank you, Jennifer Donlan Wyatt, again, for recognizing that there are some of those pieces that can happen. The other piece, too, is as both my colleagues have mentioned, some of this stuff is going to cost money, and we're not going to be able to start today. But some of it that helps us prepare us for the future, such as planning that helps us get to that next step. And being shovel ready. Most of the time, these state and federal projects require us to be shovel ready. So things like the safe routes to school, planning and programming. I think for us in a tough budget year, those are things that we can be doing so we don't lose time. So those are some thoughts for Mr. City Manager and staff, thinking about if we're going to prioritize, what are the things we can do so that when the climate does change, and even with the federal infrastructure dollars that are coming down at the moment, what are the things that we can tap into that if we did some planning, and particularly with safe routes to school, Councilmember Kaplan, I think has a daily experience about how to best do that. And some school districts are better situated than others, and some of the built environment is different though in different school districts too. So that becomes an important piece. And finally, the quick build aspect of it. I think that there are things that we can do in the meantime. We know that some of these will take a decade to go, but why not look at troubled hotspots? Areas like Stockton and T, that's a major bottleneck for the entire east to west, west to east transport for the city. And that goes all the way from the east side, from the southeast area that could be used to help make it a safer connector for people getting to work. Finally, I'll just say that, you know, we have to pass a transportation measure. I know we failed Measure B, Measure A also failed, but every day that we don't have a matching component, a local match, that means the Bay Area, now LA with Measure HLA, and other regions are taking that local tax money and using it because we don't have our local match. So we need to do what we need to do on the organizing side for the next 2 years to talk to our voters about what kind of transportation measure we want. I know I want one where this weekend when I jumped on the cargo bike to go grocery shopping with the kids because they hate getting into the car seat in the car, but they love getting on the cargo bike. And when we went grocery shopping, we went to Bel Air because they always prep the ribs the best. But that means you got to go down Fruit Ridge. And Fruit Ridge is a gnarly street. And even though we're doing the road reduction on Power In to 65th, that's not from 65th to Stockton where the Bel Air is. So to me, I think we got to think about schools to shopping centers to places of employment. That's how we commute and thinking about from that life standpoint. So now I'm very glad that we're doing Fruit Ridge to Power In because it's in front of Earl Warren Elementary School. And we've seen, you know, so many kids coming from Avondale, Glen Elder who are trying to cross, you know, 5 lanes to get to their elementary school. But we have to, you know, continue that effort. And that's going to cost money. I know we're moving forward on it. But until we have a local transportation measure. So I just wanted to, again, thank, you know, the Active Transportation Commission because it is living up to the vision that we had when we voted on that. I mean, I think the conversation started with the frustration of the county-wide bicycle committee that we had. And now it's actually doing something much more aggressive for our city. So with that, I think big kudos. Thank you very much. I think our Active Transportation Commissioners deserve a round of applause because they don't get paid to do this. So let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Guerra. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody who came out tonight and submitted comments. It's amazingly impressive, and I do want to recognize how much the public works staff does with the little bit of money we give them. I know you all talked about the multiplier effect when projects are implemented, but what we didn't talk about is that for every dollar we're giving them, they're pulling down $3 or $5 of state and federal funding, and so we can add that to the multiplier effect and thank them for the creativity that they've shown. I couldn't help but, as we talk about budget and whether or not we can increase the budget, I was remembering that, you know, every single year since I've been on this council, we have increased our public safety budget for the law enforcement in this town significantly. And I remember there was a budget where we were considering a $30 million increase, a $30 million increase. And at that time, I proposed that we take just $1 million of that $30 million increase, just $1 million, and among other things, and say, well, why don't we put this towards public works so that we can improve infrastructure so that law enforcement is less necessary when motorists break the law because we're designing the streets in that way. So internally, there have been many opportunities for us to prioritize this, and I want to thank you all for raising the fact that active transportation is not on the city budget survey because it should be, and I'm sorry to hear that it's not, and that's one piece of direction, Mr. City Manager. I know it's already out, but moving forward, I think it's important that we include all options, including public works funding, as things that people could prioritize when they're telling us the things that they want us to know. I will also say that in lieu of that, yes, we do need more money, but we actually have a sales tax measure right now. We have one right now. And actually, there was a consultant hired by Regional Transit who made this really great presentation to us as a board about how we can move money in the sales tax measure right now. We can do that. It's there. These priorities were identified years ago. This is a decades-long funding measure. So there was something written into that sales tax measure that said you can move money between projects, and we haven't. We just haven't. And that sucks for us because we sit on these regional boards where we don't have proportional representation. We'll have like 3 or 4 votes when every other city in the county has 8 votes. And so we continue to be overridden. But there is money on the table right now that I encourage us to fight for because there are freeway projects happening happening right now and road projects happening right now that are sucking down hundreds of millions of dollars of our tax money, and we should be putting it towards projects that are more efficient, and we need to figure out what that looks like at those county board levels. I don't know what it looks like, but I know several of us sit on STA. That is an option that is legally on the table. So I do want to appreciate, though, the creative ideas that were brought forward tonight and the sort of recognition that while we fight for money, what can we do now? I heard things like light timing, changing light timing. I heard things like no turns on red. The quick build program, oh my gosh, Jennifer knows this because I think actually long before I was a council member, I approached the traffic engineer like 5 traffic engineers ago, Bucky, and said, we wanted to do a quick build program outside Maple Elementary to show what it would look like on Franklin Boulevard, and they were like, you can't do that. And now we've seen that other cities are doing it. And so this isn't, I know the budget in here, I think, reflects what it would look like for us if we implemented it, but I'd like us to think about what it would look like to bring in a consultant that could design a program that the community could implement until we get the money together to implement it ourselves. What would it look like to tell the community, these are the criteria the road needs to meet, these are the criteria installation needs to meet, and if you meet these criteria, you can do it. It would be something that would take a lot of ingenuity, but I think just on this agenda tonight, colleagues, just I'm sorry, if I could finish my comments. I would love to finish my comments. I appreciate everyone's passion, but I would love to finish my comments. I will just say, colleagues, that tonight on this consent calendar item, we approved a contract for economic gardening to continue. It's a really...
Please do not shout out from the audience. Thank you.
We approved... I'm really trying to honor the people who came tonight to talk about active transportation. If I could finish, I appreciate that, and I would like that as well. So,
Please do not disrupt the orderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak out from the audience. You are now in violation of Chapter 5 of the City Council Rules of Procedure. If you continue, you'll be ordered to leave the meeting. Do you understand this warning? Please do not disrupt the orderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak from the audience. You're now in violation of Chapter 5 of the City Council Rules of Procedure. If you continue, you'll be ordered to leave the meeting. Do you understand this warning? So the gentleman in the front row, please take your seat or you will be ordered to leave the meeting. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Madam Presiding Officer. Which one do I start at now?
So no, he needs to come back. So listen to your public. That's it.
Just bring Daryl back and it's fine. Bring Daryl back. Make the mayor come back and listen to the public.
All right. How many people need to die so you guys can consider the ceasefire resolution?
We will take a 10-minute recess. Sergeant at Arms, please clear the chamber. All right. Members of the public have continued to engage in conduct that disturbs the orderly conduct of the meeting and are in violation of Council Rules of Procedure,